Hi, my name is Ale Torres, and today I will be presenting my Flappy Bird game that I have made for my Unity 1 programming class. Alright, getting right in there, in my hierarchy we have the main camera, we have our bird which the player controls. Within our canvas we have our score text, and we have our game over text which is not displayed currently. It is only displayed once the player triggers a game over, and it'll be displayed. Our game control essentially controls the spawn rate of our columns and the size of our columns, basically referring to the y-axis. And it also controls our game over screen, and it also controls the scroll speed, so how fast the player can see the background going from left to right. Within our scenery, we have our two ground tabs, which have colliders on the bottom, which is just allowing the bird to not fall through the ground. Um, Within these two ground tabs, there are also scripts that allow us to move the background over to the right positions once the camera is getting closer to the edge so that it creates a seamless background. And then within our columns, I have just added some rigid bodies on the column so that when the player makes contact with these rigid bodies, it's initially a game over. However, once it passes those, there is another collider box over here that triggers our score to increase by 1. So while we're looking at the script, we're going over here to to Visual Studio, and these are all our scripts that control the game. The bird script is just allowing the bird or the player to left click the mouse button and move our bird. It also animates the bird so that once you left click, it makes the flap animation, and it also triggers the die animation for when it collides with one of the columns. Our game control script essentially is, well, the main component of our game control is creating this public static game control instance, which allows us to write lines of code in this script and allows us to call on that like script, and allows us to use it over here. So here we're calling game control instance game over. So once the game says detects that it's a game over, it says true. We're stopping all of the velocity of our player, and it just essentially drops the player right where it is. A repeating background. This is what allows us to have a seamless transition from left to right. Once the camera picks up on how close it's getting to the end of the screen, it just moves from left to right. Our column code here is just allowing us to um, move the columns up and down. So sorry about that. And our column pool is essentially being able to refer over to the game control where we've set our, well, if the game is over, stop the game and reset. Um, our column pool is essentially randomizing the positions of the columns that we have set, and it is creating a constant spawn rate, and this is what allows us as the developers to put in any amount of number that we want to change the spawn rate and to change the minimum and maximum. Um, so yeah, and this is how the game plays. If my script would load. All right. Oh, didn't catch that, but once we go through, our score increases by 1. Here's another column that is spawned. I have set the spawn rate to 3 seconds per frame, if I can just get over this. But we can see here that once I hit one of the colliders, it's game over screen, flap to restart, and we just restart immediately after that. If I can just get over, okay, our score increased over by 1, and we can see that the background is seamless, and we can see up here how the columns are spawning and how the background is going from left to right just as we programmed it to do. Thank you so much.